Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so this has been a little while coming. I've been waiting for this case all week to be able to finish this one off. So this one that we've got tonight is a little bit different. So we've got a guy who's basically picked all his parts and decided to go with hardline water cooling, and he's got all his stuff and he thinks he'll be right to put it together, and it hasn't quite gone to plan for the poor bastard. So he's come to me and we're going to be finishing it off. We're going to be doing it in two parts because we'll do the actual tubing and the filling tomorrow. Today I just want to get everything sort of in the right case so I can lay it out, and then I can work out exactly how I'm going to do the tubing that'll look good for it. And yeah, then we'll put it together, fill it up and test it basically. So one of the things with this build is the customer doesn't have a graphics card for it yet. He's going to be using his old 2070 Super, I think he said he had. But we're going to assume that we've got like a 4080 in here in terms of the dimensions in the case. So that's more something just for me to be mindful of when I design the rest of the tubing and design where the hard line goes. Now hopefully we should be able to do it all without any like 90-degree fittings and stuff like that. However, yeah, I never like to be too sure until we've actually got it all out in the case and I can actually see for sure what angles that we're going to be dealing with and stuff like that. But it should be okay. Worst case scenario, we use a couple of 90-degree fittings on the CPU. That's usually it. We've got, I think we got one 90-degree fitting, it looks like, on the pump. So yeah, anyway, so we got this Corsair, I think it's a 280X case, which is a bit of a weird case, and it basically doesn't have a lot of room. So I'll show you it quickly. Don't mind the guy's cable management, but very, very tight. And as you can see where the reservoir is there, it's going to be a little bit tight with the graphics card unless you went with a side-mounted graphics card. Assuming that's what they sort of intend for you, but still it's a little bit tight regardless. Yeah. Hey Richard, how you going? Good to have you with us on a Friday night. So only the true nerds are watching on Friday night. We're the ultimate nerds because we cater to the nerds. So
yeah, I guess.
So that's like next level nerd. Nah, nerds unite, man. It's the age of the nerds.
Yeah.
Come on, Elon Musk is like thought of as like a god by people. They call him electric Jesus. Seriously, some people do. Alrighty, so this is the Corsair 5000X. So this is an absolute monster of a case. This gives us plenty of options for mounting our motherboard, plenty of room to do everything. We're going to put the radiator up top, for example, and it'll just look a lot better, and at the end of the day, you'll have something that he can be proud of. What's up?
Richard says I love the case from last night.
Yes, yeah, it was good, wasn't it? That's a really good case in terms of where it sits, in terms of how much you pay for it, the build quality, the features, and just how it's laid out. at about 130 Aussie dollars. It's a pretty good case. You know, for a similar case with similar kind of specs from Corsair or something like that, you pay nearly double for a case that is as good as that Antec one. Now, like, you know, if you really wanted to go hard out, you could replace the 3 included fans that come with it, and you could get, you know, higher quality fans and put it all through that case, and you would get yourself, you know, something that's a little bit more reliable with your fans long term, because obviously there's the top tier of fans which will generally last the normal person 5+ years of continuous use without any problems, and then there are like the ones with just single year warranty, which is like the standard ones, and they'll probably last the average person 2 to 3 years of constant usage with it before they start to sort of die, whether it's the RGB or the actual fans. Now, fortunately, standard RGB fans aren't very expensive, usually about $15 just for the fans on their own. I normally charge between $15-$20 for RGB fans that I install, so that gives you a bit of an idea, including the labor of installing the fan and hooking and all that. I'm still only charging $15 to $20 for a fan. So yeah, you get some idea. What's up, babe?
Very nice. Just learning a lot from these lives.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's what I like to hear. Okay, so look, for starters, I'm gonna cut out some cable ties. This was definitely someone's first try at building a PC. Or at least it looks like, at least the first time they've tried recently. Oh, jeez, this is a solid cable tie. Fuck. Holy shit. Bloody hell, that's like me cutting through my big toe. Check this out. Check out that sucker. That has some thickness to it. I tried, let me see. I tried cutting it through there, where my nail is. Didn't quite get through it. It was a bit thick. Yeah, this looks like, I'm not trying to be mean here or anything like this, but it looks like cable management from back in the 2000s. For me, my beginning days of building PCs, when, you know, if you wanted extra cooling, you just took the side panel off your case, moved the cables out of the way, and just got a pedestal fan and put it in there, and that was your extra cooling. And that was fine, you know, back in the day. No problem at all. So, we might start by removing this reservoir, because that's kind of in the way right now. Oh no, we've got a nut and a bolt. So this isn't what we're doing right now with a reservoir. This is like for what we call an open loop system. So as opposed to an all-in-one liquid cooler, which is what we call a closed loop. But basically a fancy way of saying custom water cooled or ordinary water cooled.
Jeez. I'm in North Queensland, got a lot of rain, but check this one.
Where's that? Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, the up in the peninsula, the Gulf. That was I saw some epic stuff about dams and their catchment today. I can't quite remember. Oh yeah, Barrett. Yeah, that was part of it. Okay. So out back here, we've got plenty of room in this case. Like, it's a pretty good case. We've got like the 4 SSDs there, 3.5 inch drive tray. So that's pretty good. Oh no, we got one of these super heavy duty zip ties. Let's get in there nice and precise. Yeah, he's solid. Man, these are like, jeez. I hope he doesn't come after me.
Fuck you, Tim.
Yeah, I know. Fuck, I know which way I'm going. I know which way I'll be fucking going, right? Be very careful when you cut, right? Measure twice, cut once. My dad always says, measure twice, cut once. My dad always says, quit jumping on the bed, Junior. You didn't measure. You didn't measure.
There was some earthquakes and tremors through Australia and Indonesia.
Oh, yes, there's always a few tremors.
Magnitude 6.2 in the
Oh, okay. It's pretty decent. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got a 1,000 watt power supply. Gadoosh. And a standard ATX PSU. Impacted wisdom tooth, yeah. Yeah, wisdom teeth kind of suck. Oh no. Yeah, you know, God's perfect chewing system.
Can I get past? Sorry.
That's right. It's like they say, God's perfect eating system put right next to God's perfect breathing system.
Gotta love it when the food goes down the wrong way.
Yeah.
You inhale that piece of pizza or something.
That's that intelligent design stuff the guy was telling me about. He doesn't realise that I wasn't very convinced. Okay. Oh no, we've got another one of these. Can I get it around the thick cables so I don't have an anxiety attack? There we go. So there's our case cables. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tie these up, because this guy's going to try and sell the case. So just so I don't end up with those thick zip ties strapped around me, I'll make sure it's nice and cleaned up and stuff in here.
I thought you like being zip tied up.
Oh, I think you know better than that. Okay. Very good. Okay, so yeah, this, as you can see, this kind of stuff is fairly labor intensive. It costs quite a lot to get this sort of stuff done, and you're not really usually going to save much money trying to do something like this on your own. The problem is that when you do it and something goes wrong and then you've got to take it to someone, you might think, oh, but I've like done half of it. It's like, no, we've really got to start over. We've got to start this from the perspective of yeah, you know. What's up? Who's that? Mickey. Hey Mickey, how you going? Good to have you with us. Okay, so this is a really nice motherboard here. It's a Strix. What model Strix? I'm assuming we've got a, yeah, it's the right back plate. Z790. Like, is it a 690? Is it a 790? I don't know, because it's basically the same. It's what people don't really understand a lot of the time, is that when it comes to your motherboards and stuff, it's sort of a case of, you know, what's the socket type on there? And then you know whether the motherboard really is like a new motherboard with new technology on it. Sometimes it is, but in a lot of cases, when they do the revision motherboard with the same socket, there'll be only sort of some new features that you'll sort of like there won't be if one. Usually, if one motherboard doesn't have, for example, your like PCIe 5 or DDR5 at all, then it's likely that you won't see them release something like DDR5 on the revision. It'll be on their next generation of motherboards. So while, for example, so I don't sound like a madman ranting here. For example, when they released LGA 1200 socket, when there was the 490, then there was the 590, and then you had a situation where they added PCIe 4, but they didn't add DDR5. They waited until the next generation for that. Yep. How long does it take to build a PC? Well, I mean, that's one of those like how long's a piece of string questions, right? Because it could be, depends what PC you got. For something like this, several hours at least. Anything with custom water cooling is a lot more. And it's a lot more specialized because most PC places don't do this. Like, chances are, if you go down to your like local brick and mortar PC store, they probably won't do it. I'm not saying 100% of them don't. I'm just saying that there's not really too many people out there that will do this sort of work and put a warranty to it. That's the fundamental thing. Anyone can sort of put this stuff together, but will they, you know, make sure it's done right to the level that they'll actually, you know, warrant what they're doing? Yeah, I mean, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Some things that you do with water cooling will void your manufacturer's warranty. When I say warrant, in terms of what we're talking about here with custom loops, it's about what happens if there's some sort of problem like a leak, or there's something wrong with I don't know, like the fluid needs to be drained, and you know, put new fluid in it because it's like I just want to change or something like that. You want to deal with someone who can just go ahead and do that for you. Sorry, this case is just so bulky, I can barely keep myself in the frame while I'm doing the work. But you should be able to hear me, so that's one thing. Okay. So we got some fans here mounted to a radiator. This radiator will be going up top. Do I have a spare Corsair QL120? Okay, so that goes in like that. And in like that. That's the bottom. This will be the top. Did I drop something? I feel like I've dropped something. Little rubber thing that went around there. Tiny little thing. Yeah.
Pete says hello to you both.
Hey Pete, how you going? Good to have you with us.
Been a while.
Yes.
Ray says hi to me getting my PC tomorrow. So excited.
Awesome.
So he says that Ray is starting this night.
Ah, yes. No, that's not the right piece.
David says evening.
Hey David, how you going? Good to have you with us. This looks like what we had. So there was some Corsair controllers and stuff. Yeah.
David says that how
This one here.
No, that one's just a little bit bigger than usual, isn't it?
No, it's pretty much standard. It's just a Corsair one, so they've made it sort of bulkier around the edges there to make it look bigger. I guess to give you that wow factor.
Well, it's bigger than mine.
Yeah, well you've got the 4000X, this is the 5000X. Okay, so now we're starting to kind of get somewhere. These are Corsair LL fans. Yeah.
Okay, so it's quick stream today.
What's that, sorry?
Quick stream today.
Quick stream today? Oh,
I don't know.
it should be a fairly normal stream today, I think. Yeah.
Dave says, don't make me buy you another lunch voucher too.
No, we went out, and had dinner at an Italian place.
Mm-hmm.
They got like real mozzarella and stuff like that. So I don't know.
And 6 hour
Do I-
bolognese.
do I
Which is
sound-
awesome.
Do I sound like a foodie or something like that? If you like pizza, you've got to go to a proper, legitimate Italian restaurant and get a pizza with fresh mozzarella cheese, like real mozzarella cheese. It's definitely something different. Especially if you're used to bloody pizzas at Domino's or something like that. Oh man. Hit up some pizzas with fresh mozzarella. Yeah, these are LL fans. They're turned upside down. So LL is light loop fans. That's because you've got a loop in the middle, and then you've got the loop around the edge. If that makes sense. That's what they're going for. Okay, Okay, so we got 3 LLs and 2 QLs. Shut up. What an idiot. No, I'm not in a rush at all. Totally not.
Hurry up, Tim. Hurry up, Tim. Hurry up, Tim.
Someone gonna tell me that I'm like not doing my job properly because it's Friday night. It's happened before.
Yeah. But you come and do this. One man band.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a one man band? Probably not.
Okay.
Now, I'm sorry, honey. There's no fluffy now food. You ate it all. Yeah, you're a fatty.
So what we'll do here, it's just one cable tie here up the back. It's going to sit like this in the case with the cable to the back.
One?
It's kind of an industrial one. It's what I'd call an industrial one. It's an industrial one around here. And so yeah, what I'm thinking is, so we got the CPU block there. We've got hoses coming down here. So they'll basically go from the top down the bottom there. So obviously this one here is where the fluid goes into. This one here is actually, is that a fitting installed on there? Because this one here you don't put a fitting on. This is where your this is where you fill the system
Meow,
from.
Buddy, fluffy meow. Meow. You're very persistent.
And we might need.
Meow. Tim, Ray's games is a good job, Tim. We appreciate you.
Thanks, man.
Precious is fluffy cat.
Yep, he's fluffy.
Yes, very fluffy and very mouthy.
Bloody hell! Look, feel how thick this sticky is.
Oh, I can see it. Oh, jeez.
It's like silicone.
Yeah. Feels like boot tape.
So around the other end of the 5000X, you've got it sort of set out like this. So you can go nuts with this, right? You can stick in the extra fans and all that.
Oh, the end of that was perforated. For some reason. It's got a really weird feeling to it. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? You know those mint sheet things that you could buy in the like mid 2000s?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this feels like. It's the same sort of texture.
No, yep.
It feels like it can melt with like. This is. Ah, I see.
Yes.
Tim, you haven't read the safety information.
Oh no.
You might poke your eye out.
Yeah.
Is that like...
Yeah, big zip tied in there.
Oh.
Okay, so we get an included PWM and Corsair fan controller there.
Does this case come in white?
Yeah,
How much is it?
$300.
I don't have $300. I really want this case, so... Because mine doesn't have USB-C on the top. And I
Yes, it
wanna do
does.
USB-C. Oh, it does. Now I don't need this case.
It's just bigger. That's the only difference. Then you'd think that your graphics card looks too small.
Yeah, probably, and then I'd be like, oh, I want a new graphics card.
Where does it end?
Never.
So yeah, it's basically Gonna sit in like that. How much room have we got at the top there? Yeah, we've got plenty of room. Okay, so I mean, I want to hope that this is tied down properly. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that it is. We're gonna know about it pretty bloody quickly though, if there is a problem. Puppy dogs. They call them dogs. Okay. Alrighty, and so now we just put some more screws in. Oh. I definitely don't have the hands of a surgeon. Don't ask me to do brain surgery on anyone. They might not, and might not emerge the same as they went under. As sinister as that sounds, but trust me, it won't be intentional. I'm just a shit cunt. No, we'll leave the brain surgery to the brain surgeons, I reckon. Okay, so where's our power supply gone? We did have one.
I'll let them in, buddy. No way.
So we got a motherboard here that doesn't have the second, well, it's got two PCIe or CPU cables, and we've only got the one installed here, which is okay, can run it with the one. However, it does look a lot neater and cleaner with both. So I hope that this customer's got the other cable there. Yeah. Hey Mark, how you going? Just had to move our hard drive trays over a little bit there just to fit this in. Okay, so we got our power supply installed there. I just put a couple of bolts in it, and the reason why I did that, for the more observant people, is because I might be pulling it out again to run that extra cable to the CPU. So I've got to send the customer a message about that. Okay. So I'm just going to tie all of these cables up with the existing tie up of the cables that come from the 3 fans at the front. Very good. So that bunch of cables there is all of them. The 6 fans and 6 RGB that are in this case already. But then we've just got a USB 2 and our power from that one. Plus there'll be another power cable there for our fan controller. Plus an addressable cable, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Brad says, hey Tim, did you see my video with graphics card benchmark? I had somebody else benchmark tested. It worked fine.
Yeah, okay, that's very strange. Because you were getting like colours on the screen and everything, and it crashed back to desktop. It's pretty weird that the system stayed stable for that. And no, I haven't seen your video because I'm doing something else. Okay, so okay, so we just got that one plugged in there. Well, look, mate, I like I said to you in the chat, okay, I need to have a look at it in person to be able to make any assessments of it. Okay, I can't just like look at one thing that you show me a picture of or a video of and just be like, right, it'll be this 100%. We're not talking about cars here. It's not like a mechanical fault where it's like a particular noise means particular things going wrong. Okay, I need to actually have your PC in front of me and I need to go through my process of diagnosing a PC. That's just how it goes. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful than that, but that's just how it is. So if you want, like I said, it's $40 for a diagnosis. If you were saying something about trading me a case for the diagnosis, I'd be happy to entertain that for you. So should I remove that panel and just run with that other bit and then install the reservoir? Let's get everything else hooked up in it first. Let's make sure that it turns on, we don't have a bad motherboard and all of that kind of stuff before we go much further. And then I can pretty much see how I want to do this, but I'm not 100% sure on where I want to mount the reservoir. Oh, that's okay. Like I said, I'm not going to do the whole thing tonight. messing around with a case swap is sort of like enough work for the one night. Get all that sorted. We'll make sure everything functions properly, and then we can go further. So only one USB 3 and
guess who's coming to Australia?
who?
Billy Ocean. Get it? It's Billy Ocean. Oh, that would be really cool to see though. I don't have $180 a ticket. Dad says 100% understand and I'm willing to trade case or I'll just come around with the cash. Any chance I could pop it down tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I work weekends. My hours online say 24/7. I'm not a speed freak who's up 24/7. I just put that there so people don't get scared to click message me in the middle of the night. I know it sounds stupid, but it's weird what effect the red writing saying closed can have on people's like psychology. Because without even thinking about it, you see the word closed and you're like, nah, don't click on that, don't message. Okay, there we go. It's starting to take shape. Okay, very good. So you might be thinking, oh shit, can you even turn on the PC without the cooler hooked up? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. You shouldn't do it for very long, but it's not like as soon as you turn it on and there's no cooler on there, you're instantly like frying it or something like that. It takes a bit of time for it to fry, and the fact is, even if we turn it on just to see if it works, we've still got a heat sink attached to it, so it won't heat up as quickly as just the CPU on its own. In fact, you can put a heat sink on a CPU and it will perform a lot better than you'd expect even without a fan. So you can even get fanless CPU coolers. What's up?
I said to Brad, we're just another offload ratings. There's awesome. I'll shoot you a message.
Sweet as. Alrighty, so we've got a couple of QL fans here. So I mean, we can stick one up the top.
Out of the way, cat. Move.
can stick one up here. And then as for the other one, if you want me to include it, like we can. But it might not be fully bolted down to the case. We might just use a bit of double-sided tape and just stick it there just for aesthetics. If you want, it's completely up to you. You got the fan there.
Meow.
Sometimes it's an easy way of just adding in a bit of extra light to your build. As long as it doesn't vibrate around and give you the shits, it's all good. Okay, so this fan at the back, we'll have to run the PWM cable to the motherboard. And that's actually a really good idea, because ASUS boards have this annoying thing called CPU fan fail warning, and I honestly should make a video about it, because I'm sure it's a very common fault. Just think about the headline for a while, and I'm sure it'll be a popular video. Okay, so now that we've got this fan here hooked up there at the top there with the CPU fan header, we won't have that fan fail warning. The thing we don't have is another controller for that fan. So
sorry, Greens has done a you know how they do packet mix cakes?
Yep.
And whatnot?
Yep.
They've done a brownie with Vegemite.
Oh.
I guess that would kind of be alright because, you know, Macca's chips and hot.
That's what I was just about to say. I'm like, surely they're going for the sweet, salty thing.
Yeah, well, I guess people have got a fascination with Vegemite at the moment. Coles is doing that bloody roast chicken with Vegemite. That's still a thing. They started doing that when I went on holidays last year. I was like, ew.
People in Australia in general have a fascination with Vegemite, right?
Yeah, I guess.
We're the land of the Vegemite.
Yeah, well, Vegemite's good, but there's sometimes where I draw the line. Draw the line.
Drawing the line.
Meow. Meow. Or cat.
I need a DDR5.
Whoa. That's kind of cool. Michael Jordan has donated 10 million to Make-A-Wish Foundation. That's pretty cool. Meow. Move, cat.
Okay. So, ready. I don't think we are because we don't have a graphics card. Come forth, O wise one. So right now we're putting in the biggest beast of a card that you've ever seen. It's the Asus GT710 with 4 HDMI outputs. The 4 HDMI outputs really push this card to the extreme, man. Utilizing all of that GT710 goodness. I'm kidding. Well, I'm not kidding that it's using all of its power to do the 4 outputs and stuff. But it's just, it's a good little card for what I need it for. It has an X1 interface, so I can stick it into the little tiny PCIe slots if I want. But I wouldn't want to run one for gaming. Put it that way. Alrighty, so let's see how she's going. We have lights on. Just want to check that grey
Yeah,
tab.
I'm done.
Sweet. Thanks, babe. Here we go. Should have a yeah.
Right, so it's good to watch what you're doing here because I've just been doing it by myself, just googling a lot of stuff.
Oh no, that's the worst way of doing it.
Anthony says hi.
Hey guys, I've forgotten to plug in my peripherals. It seems. Okay, so what have we got here? We have a 13900K. $87 on our CPU right now. But we only turned it on like this just to see whether everything worked. That was all. That was all we wanted to do. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be putting in the reservoir, doing the tubing, and then filling it up, and then we'll see how she goes. The one thing that I do have to stress to anyone is that the 13900K, if you don't run with the undervolt settings that I'm going to save into the XTU app for you, it is going to go straight to 100 degrees. There's nothing wrong with the cooling setup. That's just how it's tuned. It's tuned so if you use all cores, all threads, 100% power, it's just going to go straight to 100 degrees and throttle. The reason why they do that is because they're all obsessed with the benchmark results, because that's what gets them sales. So they don't care about whether it runs hot. They basically figure if you're the sort of user that's actually going to utilize all cores and all threads at the same time, then you know enough to undervolt your CPU and you'll just tune it for what you're doing anyway. But that leads to people freaking out that there's something wrong with their cooler. So I get people all the time who say that their CPU's overheating under load, and then they tell me it's a 12900K or a 13900K, and I just look at them. I'm just like, yeah, what do you want to know? It's a 13900K. It's doing 13900K stuff. If you want to use it like that, you don't want to just use it for gaming, because it's tuned for gaming out of the box. It won't overheat like that while you're gaming, but it will when you run the Cinebench benchmark, for example, which is what I do for the stress test. And so because I do the stress test, that means I save a undervolt profile in there, or as I like to call it, just a custom power profile. think undervolt kind of scares people a little bit because, like, I don't think that a lot of people fully understand what a volt is. They know it's electricity, but they don't fully understand it. But if you just say custom power profile, that usually makes pretty good sense to most people what that's all about. Anyway, so I'll get in contact with the customer, and if he wants, if he could drop me in that other CPU cable, that'll be good, and also any other bits and pieces from the radiator here and stuff. Sorry, not the radiator, the reservoir, I should say. Any plugs, because I think we need a plug. We need a plug up here on one of these. We don't need this other O-ring. That should be in the radiator there on the end. I mean, I could just use a little plastic one if you want, but best practice is to have a nice sealed one in there, so that when you turn your computer off and the pump stops running, you don't get water leaking out of the reservoir. So
that'd be good, right?
Yeah, no, that's generally not good. Generally not good. The way that it's going to be positioned, though, in this case, is going to be fine, because if we have any leaks from the reservoir, it's not actually going to be touching anything too serious. Now, the power supply is down the bottom, so you wouldn't want it to absolutely piss out with liquid and have the whole bottom filled up with liquid and then try to turn it on with liquid in the bottom of the case. But, you know, a little bit of liquid leakage from around the reservoir, like, not going to be a problem where we install that. I think I'm going to have to install it lower than that. I think I'm going to have to go on the next level down, but leave it with me. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at a few other. Let me have a look online, because I know it might sound like cheating, but it gives me ideas on how I'll run the piping, because that's the hardest thing to work out, is just what I'm going to do for the tubing. And see, it's going to be hardline here, so it's going to look a lot neater and stuff. It always looks neater than soft tubing, but it costs more because it's more specialised. You need specialised tools to bend the pipes properly and stuff like that. Yeah, bit of a pain in the ass if you're just a home builder. And the thing is, custom water cooling like this is all for show. Okay, yeah, you could potentially use 2 radiators, which will give you bigger heat dissipation surface. But it's not necessarily going to give you more cooling capabilities compared to a high-end all-in-one liquid cooler. If you go for a top-of-the-range all-in-one, it's going to be more or less in line with a really good custom loop. So the reason why I think that custom loops are going to become more popular isn't so much because of the capacity of the coolers to cool better, and it's not because of the coloured fluid in the pipes. So it's almost like every PC these days with a gaming CPU, we have like an all-in-one liquid cooler attached to it, right? The reason why that is because air coolers, they started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and before you knew it, we had, you know, a few kilos mounted to the top, strapped to the top of our CPU with bolts through the board, and the boards were actually getting bent from having such big coolers mounted directly to the CPU. So the engineers were like, why don't we just use liquid to put the radiator somewhere else in the case and use the liquid to move the heat around? And then we've got all-in-one liquid coolers, and that's what's pretty much cooling our CPUs these days. Pretty much a standard almost. Air coolers almost like a niche thing. But what's happening now, we're seeing the RTX 40 series, like these 4090s, right? They're absolutely huge. Now, what makes them huge isn't the actual GPU itself. The GPU on the PCB on the card is actually quite small. It's not getting massive. The thing that's getting massive is the cooler. So we've got the same thing starting to happen now with our graphics cards as what we were having with CPU coolers 10 years ago, right? So that's my opinion, and I think that it'll go this way. I think you'll start to see more and more cards come with a factory water block on them and designed to be hooked up with a custom loop. So what that means is it's good for consumers if this happens, because it'll bring the cost of doing these down a lot. Because right now the costs are high because it's a fairly niche thing. But as it becomes more and more popular, the marketplace will become more and more competitive, and before you know it, the price will have come down a lot from what it is. Because in terms of the labor, you're looking at usually upwards of $1,500 labor to assemble a PC like this, and that's a bargain. That's like really simple stuff when there's no when you don't have to like put a new block on a graphics card, and you know, we're just doing soft tubing and stuff, and it gets more expensive with hardline tubing. But the cost of that will come down as it becomes more popular. So there's that to consider as well. But anyway, I think I've probably ranted enough for tonight. What's the time? Shit, it's 20 to 10. It's actually getting on here tonight. So look, we'll leave it here. We'll leave it here for tonight, I think. And I'll ask the customer whether he's got that other power cable there for the CPU, just so we can have the two of them plugged in. If he's got any DDR5 RAM and stuff like that, I'll get him to bring it over for me as well, just so I can just test it out for him, make sure it's working fine and stuff like that, because I'm sure he doesn't want to have to fuck around with this too much. Oh, bloody hell! We had these two cables here for daisy chaining hooked into themselves. That's a closed circuit right there. Won't have much lighting with a closed circuit. But anyway, just trying to think. I think I've done everything that I really need to for tonight. Like, I want to still make some content out of this for tomorrow. And we've got another two PC builds that have been paid for as well. So they'll come through for tomorrow and Sunday night as well. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a quietish week this week, but yeah, you get that. No worries. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next video.